I'll be there.
Readings.
Test. We'll wait to get a check here. Not quite yet. Plus, it's not quite 5:15.
I mean, I like to walk in right at 5:15, so.
She says we're good, but it's not 5:15 yet. Turn my house back on. Yep, need to move.
Do you need me to take minutes for you or anything?
We're good.
It's
It's recording.
okay. So just do it.
No, I checked that it was recording. I had Katie Welke, technology,
Okay.
so she confirmed.
Is it, I've got 5:16.
Yep, I have 5:15.
Okay, super. All right, I'm gonna call to order this meeting of the Policy Committee. It is Thursday, December 18th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. There's a possibility that a quorum of the full membership of the board could be in attendance at board committee meetings. There's no full board action taken at any board committee meeting. Only members of the committee may vote on any item on the agenda. A live broadcast is being streamed on the school's YouTube page. To watch the recorded meeting, please visit our school district of Menominee Falls YouTube site. We are in Village Hall Upper Level Conference Room 3344/3345 at West 156 North 8480 Pilgrim Road in Menominee Falls. Was the meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Moving on to our minutes approval, we did have a meeting on November 20th, and I would need a motion to approve the policy committee meeting minutes from November 20th as presented.
Go ahead.
All motion?
Motion by Ms. Holzman,
I'll second.
Mr. Langer on the second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none. All right, moving on to our discussion items, we have a number of items tonight. The first one being the Neola policy 1000, and the Neola administrative guidelines for the 1000 policies.
Okay, and as you can see that in our work with Neola and talking to other districts, administrative guidelines are, it really depends district by district. You don't need to have any. Some districts, like my good friends in New Berlin, have very few, very light. So you'll see a lot of strikeouts, not because anything's wrong. We obviously have policies in those locations, but where we needed administrative guidelines, they are here. For example, AG 1100 is in my absence or inability to make decisions. It makes it very direct about who's in charge. And if I'm not available or am out of the district, that's just an example. And then there's other administrative guidelines, like I said, which is the equivalent of procedures in our current way of doing things. Most of the administrative guidelines in the thousands weren't taken because they just weren't needed. Do you have any other questions? The biggest one there is 1100.
And that's all pretty standard, the whole staff already knows that Mr. Halverson's in charge and
Yes.
they're not present.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
I didn't have any comments, questions on the 1000, so if any. So I'm not gonna comment, but if there's anybody else has questions or items for that, okay, so then moving on to the 9000s. So the 1000s, just for anybody out there watching, the 1000s are district administration type things. Okay, moving on to the 9000s. 9000s are the public relations type.
Yeah, and in all instances, there are some cases where Neola AGs heavily cross over into like the HR world. So you can see in some of the ones that I struck out, when we bring Leah in here with those AGs, she'll take care of FMLA and all those other things that are kind of stricken out. You'll see some of those things. So in the 9000s, pretty straightforward, not any questions for those that have reviewed everything?
I do not have
We added a few things under 9160. They're things that we do, but I wanted to have in an AG about if you're a certain age, you get into our events, or if you're military in uniform or with proper identification, you get in free. So you'll notice that under 9160, letter G, armed service personnel in uniform or with proper identification shall be admitted free.
Which
So-
is the proper identification,
A military identification card,
active, veteran,
any,
okay.
so
Are these things that, was that current or is this something you're adding?
that's an ad,
Okay,
That's
As I
an
said,
ad. We
I think
already-
that was a best practice only at the high school, but to be able to make it
yeah.
district-wide, I think is beneficial.
I saw
It
that
is.
senior citizens over 60 are free.
We already do
We
that.
do that?
Yeah, we already do that, but it's not written, but now it is. So we did this with our, obviously our athletic director.
Great.
We actually brought him into the room. Into drafting. Questions?
Other than putting a sign on the table at admission
Oh,
for
military?
military and senior citizens. Well,
And
And
over
yeah,
60, right? 'Cause-
Mhm.
okay. I'm not exactly sure if people know that.
I bet they don't, because we actually,
You mean the
had an
60?
event in the
Yeah.
last couple of years where people were of a certain age, older than 60, were being charged at the door. And then people were like, oh gosh, at Brookfield, we get in free. And so then I think it was relatively recently, in the last couple of years, that it's been changed to be able to be much more on par with other districts and what they do. So to the point of being able to publish it at ticketing places or signs would be awesome.
Yeah, I think if
It
there's
would.
just a sign at the admissions table, it would be.
I think that would be great at all the events, because I know I've brought grandparents to things and I've paid for them, which is fine, and
Right.
The
you know,
school,
whatever,
yeah.
goes to the school, but like, you know, I'm bringing a grandparent in and I don't want them to pay, so I'm paying for them, and it would be nice if everybody knew that they don't have to pay, so. That's
Yeah,
it.
my dad was at a football game 3 years ago and he's over 60 and military. And I paid for him.
There you go,
But
Same.
but he had fun though.
that's fine.
Yeah,
All right.
I have no questions on that.
Can I ask, for the challenges library media materials, I don't remember if it was in the full board meeting or if it was after when I was talking to Leah. She had mentioned wanting to look at the, under step 4, it's about the board will email a vote to determine what they're gonna do. And there is I know Leah, I thought Leah might be here, I can send her a message too. There's a recent issue with where a school board, I think they were replacing a member like what we did, but they did it via Zoom and they were emailing votes and that was, I forget what district, but it was a big,
Yeah,
ended up being a legal matter. So I was just asking about the appropriateness of email votes to determine board actions and if that was, and she mentioned that maybe should go, but I don't know if,
she was involved in all these draftings.
okay,
Why don't you go ahead and form your email to me and obviously CC Leah, or write to Leah.
Okay.
And just CC me and we can follow up.
Okay.
We can follow up in that regard.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, and email about,
I'll send it,
email votes, right?
yes, email about email votes.
I'm just writing a note to myself. To me. Got it? Okay,
And then I was just, again, probably more for Leah, just in the 9130 for the supplemental materials. I may just not I just find it weird that everything goes to the full board, at least like consent agenda, but except like this one thing. So that was, I understand Leah took a lot of time and looked into From a legal perspective, like, it's solid,
Yep.
but from a, I guess, process perspective, I've always been, that confuses me that, like, the curriculum committee suggests a textbook, the full board approves it, or if any committee does anything, the full board has to, like, sign off on it, except this one thing.
913001, you mean? Is this what we're talking about, the right policy? Or AG?
AG.
913001?
Let's go back to that. Yes.
Okay.
Or there, I guess, are there other things, Jennifer, that I'm just not thinking of,
Yeah,
that I'm just
I
maybe
know
less
that
familiar
there
with?
are other things that like just go to finance and they kind of end there, like,
The committee
I-
takes the decision.
yes, and it doesn't go to the full board. What that is at the moment, I can't tell you, I wasn't prepared to like
Sure.
look it up, but I do know that there are a number of things that will just end at finance committee, and I think there's a couple of things that each committee might have sort of jurisdiction where their word is final.
Okay.
So,
Like, or it doesn't even go on the consent agenda?
correct.
But the minutes are published. So it's important to see that part.
And recorded.
Yeah, and this is,
Yeah,
A
I'm
word
not
from-
saying it's not transparent, I was just more saying from
Yeah.
a,
thank you.
Like, where's the decision?
right, like as a, hey, you know, whatever, these, I guess at least two people said, you know, we agree with this decision, and then just having it be four people, you know, being the majority, but, like I said, I was not aware of anything else that acted like this, but it's obviously possible that I, you know, obviously Jennifer, you've had many more years on the board than I have.
So. I mean, that's all, I can't think of what that
Well,
is,
minutes
but
are
I do
approved,
remember,
Yeah.
like.
I mean, minutes are one thing, but I mean, like closed minute, generally speaking, and Peggy and I are trying to get into regular sequences, like if we have closed minutes, we're trying to bring that back to closed, to be approved and closed. There's certain protocols, just with the transition and some staff.
No, I think what he's saying is like,
And minutes are separate to me.
yeah, that I think is
It was
different.
like
It would reflect
a
the decision.
board is- I guess, and again, I can definitely email you, mine was more about an action is being taken by a minority of the board, and then that's final. And I just, again, like with the, you know, very overarching, like, I have no power other than if the other people agree with me, except in, to me, it was only this situation, but, you know, obviously, Jennifer says there's other situations, so that's just always stuck out to me as an oddity that it doesn't go to like a consent item.
I think one thing that we have found out in our drafting processes with Neola is that we have a lot of what, and this occurred when we were drafting with Leah, and it'll come up in other, not just today, but in future AGs, that there's a lot more Neola template than what we ever thought before. You know, and like in the last board meeting, no, it was committee meeting. In the last committee meeting, I mean, it was pretty clear that a policy we thought that was completely homegrown was actually vast majority Neola. It was just before I was here, before Leah was here, someone was using their template as a base grant. So Leah had expressed to Dr. Thompson, Neola, who will be with us in March, that you know, she found that as well in the procedures. Now that we found that, the more we look back, the more we see that our procedures were also very much taken. Inspired is generous. I think that's a fair way to put it. I think that's a fair way to put it, because I don't know people's, you know.
Well, it's hard to start from scratch, so if you look at a policy
Sure.
that's already been written, then you
Sure.
can be like, this applies, this doesn't, we're gonna
Sure.
tweak here.
You know, and it's like me, I look at New Berlin because they have Neola and they're very similar to us, same with McWanago, Waukesha.
Yep.
You can see what they do, I talk to their superintendents and ask them, like if you look at AGs, for example, what we're doing tonight, and you look at New Berlin, they barely have any. And that's more their board and their superintendent, so you'll see that flavor, because I've talked to my admin team and I've told them, you know, prove to us that we need it and tell me why, we can always add it later.
Mhm.
We have all their templates. We can always add it later or take something out or what have you, so. Anything else on the 9,000s?
I didn't know.
Okay,
All right, then we'll go to the 5,000s, and again, for everybody, this is items pertaining to students, they're called the 5,000 student templates.
yeah, and this has to do with like admission to the district, like 5111 is the second AG in there. So this one is pretty AG heavy, because there's some particulars, like educational opportunities for military children. That can be complicated when they're coming from military base, and foster care is listed in there, just as an example. And I do appreciate, I am running solo today. Everybody else has got events, but Mr. Halverson and Mr. Just were directly involved in all this drafting. We did bring in the high school principal and athletic director as well to assist in drafting. Open enrollment is in there. Other things like assignment to school, class, and grade, promotion, placement, grading criteria, property care. It's pretty expansive.
I did notice that, just as a general comment, that most of these had very little ability to tailor them. So it seems like these are based on state statutes or
Yeah.
laws, and so, I mean, maybe we could, put in like the name of a person or something like that, but for the most part, there is not a lot of, like the homeless students one.
Yep.
5111.01, there is nothing. Like the whole thing is just written and you either, I suppose we're allowed, well, I don't.
We can,
Yeah,
we can even not take it, but
Right.
one of the things that when we were looking at these in particular, I'll bring up 3 in particular because it hits on your point, but these are things that people would wanna know about, like weapons, search and seizure, and then education and services for school-age parents. Now, weapons is 5772. Now, there's some very specific law in that, and our specific change in there was making sure that our school resource officers and specifically Menominee Falls Police is listed. So that's in 5722. Aside from that, there's some very strict statutes, 12013 sub 1 of Wisconsin statutes, and then 2 US codes about that. So weapons are very specific. Search and seizure, we spent some time on that, and it references board policy that has already come through first approval, 5771. Search and seizure for principals there's a different school law and criminal law with the Fourth Amendment. Search is different. It's reasonable suspicion in schools and probable cause out in the world. And it's an important distinction that needs to be very clear. And it is a substantial legal difference. Reasonable suspicion versus probable cause. So that sort of thing is very clear here, along with other services. So lot of time, lot of hours, and this will be, in my view, because we're already had on drafting AGs, this will probably be one of the heavier ones on AGs.
Can I ask a question about the specificity of calling out the Menominee Falls Police Department?
Yes.
Replacing the language that says appropriate law enforcement agency? What happens if it's an agency that is not Menominee Falls Police, like FBI or CIA or something, has a reason to be here?
Yep.
Is it that they will then be like ushered in or in partnership with the Falls Police Department? Is that the assumption?
That's the protocol.
Okay.
So we do have, multiple law enforcement partners. For example, when the FBI or the Secret the Secret Service was here doing a presentation for us.
Yes,
And their protocol in that situation is to make sure to make contact with the local police. Even though they weren't involved in an incident, they were doing an educational presentation for our whole staff. But there's protocols that our federal law enforcement partners are supposed to follow, and they do follow. They have contacts here with the village police, you know, that they have their chain as well.
makes sense.
Any other questions?
I did have a question
Oh, go ahead.
on 5200 attendance.
Yes, it's going very well, I will
Yes,
say.
So it'll be page 1, 2, 3, 4, page 5.
Okay.
And on page 5, there's like A through F. Did we get there?
I am here.
Okay, so it says, this is like the responsibility
Yep.
of, okay, and we crossed off that a professional staff member's responsibility must include but not be limited to providing meaningful learning experiences every day such that a student absent from any given class period would miss a significant component of the course. Why would we cross that out?
What page again? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong page.
5.
Page 5,
Five, letter A.
very top.
very top.
So
Professional staff
it's
members.
in pink and it's crossed out. And then the same thing with like E. Their responsibility would be to incorporating defined daily participation as part of the teaching learning process in each grading period. Like, we kept some of the
A,
items, but
yep,
like, why would we
yep.
not have
A is the
meaningful
every-
learning experiences every day?
A is the everyday component.
Mhm.
And is that the meaningful learning experiences, it could be a project-based learning, which is a multi-day or a 3-day activity. So when I was teaching, now granted it was 2 decades ago, I would have activities that would span multiple days. So that was one of the things that came up when we were looking at that, incorporated defined daily
Well, but
participation.
I would say that during each day, there was something meaningful. Maybe I'm just not understanding this, maybe this is some kind of lingo that I'm not understanding, but I would say that every day, students should go to a class and there should be something in that class period that is meaningful.
Yeah, I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay. I would like to know why that was struck, and
Okay.
really E and F as well.
Is daily better than every day?
Sure, just providing meaningful learning experiences such that a student, I mean, if you it's basically saying we don't want people to miss a day of class because there's something important in that class every day, right? I mean, to me, I mean, again, maybe this means something more specific, but I think in general,
Oh, you're
we
right.
want students to be there because there's something they're gonna learn there.
Right.
Otherwise, why
Well, I think,
would we be doing this?
I think the question is, why are we crossing it out?
Yeah.
Not-
Yes,
Right, like
and I
what,
think,
Did someone object to that as to,
yeah, I don't.
Well, let me get back to you on that.
okay,
All right, I'll shoot an email
I
out.
think some people are looking at through like when you get to the higher level, high school, people are, to your point of using work days, or maybe something isn't being taught, but you're still making progress and doing individualized learning and contributing to a group work versus actually receiving a lesson, but that is probably the smaller percentage versus all of the educating that goes on a daily basis at all grade levels, so.
Yeah, it's a fair question, but it's probably coming less from a curricular perspective and more from like broad attendance. Like our average daily attendance right now is close to 96%, which is almost 7 percentage points higher than the target. Because we performed so poorly in years past, it's been an ultra focus, you know, and it's something I should mention more, but it's something we're tracking daily, and the reason it's so important, if the kids aren't there, they can't learn or perform or be taught or be subject to instruction. So let me look into it and get back to you.
Okay.
All right?
and then I'd like to bring up 5320, immunization of students in school, and I'm bringing this up because I promised the nurses when we had them at the Student Services Committee meeting that I would bring it up. The
Oh,
nurse-
that's right, I saw that online.
Yeah, we are at 100%. 100% compliant with immunizations. And compliance means that they are immunized from everything or they have a waiver for everything, one way or the other. So good on the nurses, good on the staff and everything for being compliant. But I think the concern of some parents and some community members is that the waiver is not expressed the way they would like it.
So do we want this, yeah, I remember seeing that on
Right.
YouTube.
Yep, and I promised the nurses I'd bring it up, so that's why I'm doing it. So they send it out at the beginning of the school year or preschool. And then even at the back to school fair, they have a booth there, parents can come and ask them. So they're available, and then the form that the state provides that we send out has waiver right at the bottom, but some parents don't read through it or don't see it on there, and then they're not in compliance, and when they're not in compliance, that's when the nurses highlight that portion of the waiver, and then they send it back to them saying, if you want to do a waiver or whatever, so.
And
Mr.
we're-
Halverson's definitely aware of it, he's on top of it, but I promised the nurses that I'd talk about it, so.
Yeah, and he did talk to me about it, and I did see I was at a concert that day. We're talking about exemptions, parent objections,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So where it talks about the immunization requirement is waived if an adult or the student's parents submits a written statement to the school objecting to the immunization for reasons of health, religion, or personal conviction.
Correct.
And then it gives that specific detail, so.
And I'm not sure if on the form, I can bring up the form, but I'm not sure if on the form that it does need a written statement. That's what we have. Parent submits a written statement. I had it somewhere.
No, this statement will be kept by the school as part of the student's immunization record.
Yeah.
Like, why is it written statement versus signed waiver?
The thing that the state sends out is a form, whether or not you're in compliance with it.
That is
And at
correct.
the bottom of the form, there is a section where you check waiver or whatever, but I'm not sure if it allows you to attach a statement or.
So here, maybe you can just we could just change it to say it's waived if the student submits the.
Well, I'm not sure if we can change it because of the
Cause I know the school does not need a waiver, you can just check the box and turn it in, and that's what's accepted. Like, you don't have to say you write something on it that says like, I object, because the form actually says,
that's correct.
it says you have to check personal conviction or religion or health,
Right.
that's all that they need.
I have it right here. It says, for religious reasons, I have chosen not to vaccinate this student with the following immunizations. Or for personal conviction reasons, I have chosen not to vaccinate this student with the following immunizations. And then there's no information on whether or not you need to attach a written statement.
I feel like
Whether or not this is the written
it
statement,
seems like that is the statement.
but that's not in our AG.
Okay, so,
Or just a clarifying point, that
So-
is that form.
Right, so if you want to,
Say by completing, section
Here, I
D
have
or whatever.
State of Wisconsin statute, 252.04 and 120.12, Division of Public Health, Form 04020L.
That form number?
F04020L. So are we saying that the completed, what is the word we use here? The completed written statement, is that just the form from the state? And I know Mr. Halverson is on it, but
well, why don't we pull that one with attendance?
Yeah.
And then I'll get back to you on that as well. I did
appreciate-
see a lot of emails after, as I was at the concert
Yep.
about this.
Yep.
So I can get back to you on that and make sure that it's the way, so we're not concerned about the content, more about the prevalence or
I'm
acknowledgement of what is in law. Cause this is
right,
very.
and we definitely need to follow state law, but
Right.
is this AG saying the immunization requirement is waived if the student, if an adult, or the student's parent submit a written statement? Does that written statement equal the form, the state form?
And they're
Does-
the same.
Does
I think
written
it is.
statement, how
That'd be
can I
nice.
put that?
Does a written statement in the AG equal the?
Yeah, I mean, we could almost put
The Department of Health
In
Services
parentheses,
form.
as like,
Caption state, yep.
yeah, we could put
Right.
like, submits a written statement via form F04020L or whatever.
Correct.
Alright, I will get back to you on that along with the fix,
Yes.
meaning we're not gonna change the content.
Right.
We're just gonna reference, like you said, like I just wrote a statement to myself. Does the written statement in the AG, the one that's in here,
Uh-huh.
equal
F040.
The state form.
Yes, the state form.
F04020L?
Right.
Division of Public Health.
Like the parent doesn't need to write an essay about why they're waiving the immunization.
So we're just looking for clarity, and if that F04020L
Yes.
is the
Is the written
Is the written
statement. Does that make sense?
Yes.
is equal to, got it.
Because I hear what you're saying, if
Yes.
we're asking for written statement, the state
Yes.
statute says complete the form, I think there is confusion.
Correct.
And we're just trying to bring it together to make sure that
Okay.
aligns.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big topic and one way or the other politically, it doesn't matter, but I just wanted to, if that's what you want to do, it needs to be clear.
Got it. We just wanna, I don't wanna change the content of that AG, I just wanna clarify it.
Correct, clarify, not
I wanna
change.
clarify what's there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My only other questions relate to this, to 5605. And then, I just noticed that through 5610.01, and it doesn't really matter what they are. I just noticed that they were all like basically straight up, like there were no options to choose, they were like, so it's about disciplining students.
Yeah.
And I just wanna make sure we're adopting these, like, this is what we are currently doing, like,
These have been, like, the students with 504s.
Yeah.
Mr. Halverson's name is next to all of them. So alternative expulsion hearing procedures, you can see up there next to AG, like 5610.01. Mr. Halverson's initials are there. So.
I just want, like, again, we obviously have a process that is in place for all of these things that,
Yes,
teachers and staff, and they're
Yeah.
doing it, and then we accept these, and I just wanna make sure that if there's anything that's new in here that we weren't already doing, that we can make sure people know that, or provide these to staff so that they can review them and know what it is they're supposed to be doing. 'Cause it didn't seem like there was any kind of like local, it didn't have, it was just a complete, like, this is what Neola says you need to do, so.
Yeah, when it
Don't want any
comes-
confusion.
when it comes down to like suspensions and detentions and school discipline and 504s and IEPs, it's very scripted. It's very litigious, it's very, American public school law is pretty much driving all of that.
The only change that I see in that whole thing is we put school psychologist. What was the change on that one?
Right, I mean, that was, Mr. Halverson is working with, the school psychologists are, all of our teachers are great, but of our educational certified staff,
Mhm.
all of our school psychologists are very near, if not already, PhDs.
Right.
So,
And that's
Some of
a Neola approved change. So,
absolutely,
Good.
absolutely.
Before we leave the 5,000, just a comment, nothing that needs to change, but more of a follow-up with Mr. Halverson. I don't remember if it was discussion student services last year. But it's regarding regard to the dress code, dress and grooming, DG 5511. This one indicates that it's kind of a building decision. Each principal, in consultation with their staff, shall develop and publish a student handbook. There was discussion, I don't know if Leo would remember it or where,
I remember it.
to going to a district policy, so the only thing I bring up is, I don't think we have to change what we're on, and I don't wanna slow this process to adhere to that, but there was some discussion at some point of moving to a district dress code, so.
We did put some work into that.
Right.
But it more came to, we already have some good local building level protocols in place and it's different at the elementary school than at the high school.
I think there was more synergy between what people are set up for success at middle school as they're transitioning to the high school, so, but if you did research and work and we're certainly gonna be building level, I'm fine with that, I just wanted to make sure, I couldn't recall where it was at.
And I'm gonna say this broadly is, we really haven't had any dress or grooming issues that have risen to my level,
Very good,
much less a board level. So I
awesome,
think it's very much, I mean, they're handling things at the school level.
perfect.
They're, I'm not saying they don't exist, of course they do, but I'm sure they do. I could look it up.
I think the bigger issue was, would there be inconsistencies where if I wore an article of clothing that was questionable at North, but somehow it got away at high school, like, or vice versa, but I think the thought process was, hey, could there be synergy there? But you've got two principals there that work really closely together, and I'm sure they're in sync with management.
I'll take a look into it.
Perfect.
I'll look into it.
Any other comments or questions on the 5,000s? No? Alright, we'll move on to item D, which is the drafting schedule.
Yeah, I just want to give you an update. I did make a change with Dr. Thompson on the drafting schedule. And most things are scheduled. That's why Peggy had reached out to the policy committee. So I appreciate everybody getting back to her about setting those dates. So we dropped the policy committee dates in there. And the only thing that I will be placing it, I just haven't, everybody's working through things. Obviously, Mr. Halverson and I are done, along with Alec, and now the ladies, meaning Leah, Caitlin, and Amy, will be working, they're all working over break, not because of this, they had already scheduled some work time over break, and they're gonna be focusing on completing these AGs. But all of that is set. I will be moving the 2000s up into one of those committee meetings. It's just sitting there as a placeholder right now. So right now, this document is where we're at. I don't think there will be too many more changes, other than the one, the 2000s will come up into one of those meetings at some point. But I just need to see where they're at, what they're actually drafting. But I'll make you aware. I'll make you aware when I move it, where I put it. Okay?
Alright. Item E, board policy 411, so current board policy.
Yeah,
So
current,
this is not in the thousands, this is 411, and this would be something that would be in effect. And it would be in effect after the next board meeting.
right. So this sort of thing, it's just a name change. I just wanna make you aware of it, that it's putting Mr. Halverson's name in there instead of what's listed. Alright, so that's all. There was nothing else that was done there, just a name change.
Do we wanna have a name in a policy?
Yeah, we
I know we
checked,
normally try to do titles and positions, but
They
if
don't
we
allow
have to on this one, then perfect.
by law, there are a few that we do,
Captain,
and that is one of them. So just wanted to make you aware of it, and that's all I have on that.
Okay. And then item F, Neola policy 1100.
Yeah, this one we will bring back, obviously, to the board, because we've already reviewed policy 1100, and I wanted to just follow the right protocols, coming here first, and then going to the board, that we had already placed in the old org chart. This is the new org chart that I already showed to the whole board. I just hadn't placed it into policy yet. So I referenced it, at the actual full board meeting. This is the actual policy that has already gone before the board, but I'm gonna, and Dr. Thompson said this is very normal, things are happening, make the change, bring it back. The only change is the org chart. The only change is this org chart, which is why I linked it in for everybody there.
One thing I might suggest is, since you're dealing with versions, when you produce something like this, do you wanna put somewhere on here and as update?
Sure, I can do that.
I think that would just be good, so then you know if it's out of date, needs updating, or.
That's a good point, yeah. And if that's okay with everybody here, I'll add that in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll use today's date, or I'll use the board meeting date, I suppose.
Perfect.
Okay. Anything else on that item? Alright, we're gonna move to our action items. So, action item A is going back to the Neola Administrative Guideline 1000. So I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola AG 1000 as presented.
Motion?
Moved by Ms. Holzman,
I'll second.
motion seconded by Mr. Langer. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, Neola Administrative Guideline 9000, so I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the Neola Administrative Guideline 9000 as presented.
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Holzman,
Second.
second by Mr. Langer, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Neola Administrative Guideline 5000, so I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of Neola Administrative Guideline 5000 as presented.
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Holzman,
Second.
second by Mr. Langer, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That also passes unanimously. All right, moving on to the org chart, so for Neola Policy 1100, the revised org chart. I need a motion to approve the revised organizational chart to be included in Policy 1100.
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Holzman,
Second.
by Mr. Langer, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. All right, that brings us to the end of the action items. Any future agenda items? Looks like we have, no, any possible
Yep.
items?
Review drafts of AG's 3000s and 4000s, so the next policy committee meeting is going to be after the next board meeting, so that will be via. So it'll be just the 3000s, because like we did with policies, we combine 3000s and 4000s, which is common, because Neola districts, we have a process for that with Dr. Thompson. So we'll be doing the same thing with AGs. So that'll be on January 15th. And then January 12th is when everything that was just done today comes before the board, on January 12th.
All right, and that brings us to the end of our agenda. I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion by Ms. Holzman,
Second.
second by Mr. Langer, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.